friends and colleagues of Sir Norman Wisdom have been paying tribute to the master of slapstick, who died yesterday at the age of 95. He started life in poverty, but went on to star in dozens of films and sitcoms. Nick Hyam looks back at his life.
Emergency!
He was a slapstick clown, the little man, clumsy, put upon, endearing.
It's all right, Mr. Grimsdale, bit of hold up, but don't worry.
He'd had a hard childhood. At the age of 13, he was living on the street. Only when he joined the army did he find warmth, friendship and enjoyment.
It gave me a home, something to eat, a wonderful place to live, marvellous mates.
He was astonishingly agile. Charlie Chaplin said he was his favourite clown. But he was more than just a comedian. He won awards playing a terminally ill cancer patient.
Where'd you find that?
Kept it in the linen cupboard.
Dear, oh dear.
He was a huge star in Albania, where his had been the only Western films allowed by the communist dictatorship. He was mobbed each time he visited the country. Today, his comedy seems unsophisticated. Downtrodden clowns are out of fashion, but Norman Wisdom had proved there was more to him than slapstick alone.
Well, with us here in the studio is the Albanian ambassador, His Excellency Zef Mazi. Thank you so much for coming in. And of course, we were hearing that Norman Wisdom in this peculiar way became something of a cult figure in Albania. Tell us more about that.
Well, it's true. I mean, in Albania those years when the system was not the right one in the country under a severe communist regime, having films from the UK was a hit news, and the fact that Sir Norman's films in Albania then became very popular is something that's linked with his greatness as an actor, as a comedian. He was a very great professional. And second, that his humour, like sort of playing the fool and getting over with it, was something that the Albanian public very much appreciated, and it's linked with the sense of humour that the English people have in general.
So it translates well, his style of humour translates well into Albanian?
It translates very well into Albanian, also because the Albanian people has a very great sense of humour as well, and in those years when it was shown, which also became the news here now, that he was shown in Albania those years, and why? Because also the system thought that it was not a danger to show Sir Norman's films in the country. But the messages were so subtle and so nicely sort of given. And the public loved not only because of the humour that it was conveyed, but also the messages which they used then, also in their daily sort of jargon. And by repeating some of his messages, they were indirectly sort of pointing to their own regime.
Subverting the system with
exactly.
comedy.
So it was like a window of great English humour. So he was probably the greatest comedian after Charlie Chaplin, so much beloved in the Albanian audience, and we feel very, very sorry for his passing away. And on this occasion, I would like, on behalf of my embassy and the Albanian people and government, to express the deep sympathies to the family and the beloved of Sir Norman.
And we can just look at some pictures of when he visited Albania. I think this was back in March 2001, because England were playing Albania, and we were hearing earlier from one of his friends that he'd had a bit of a struggle, I think, when he went, because he didn't want to appear disloyal to the Albanians or the English, so he had a rather complex way of splitting up the strip and having half Albanian strip and half English, which I think would have appealed to people. And he was very warmly welcomed, I think, when he came over, not least because he got involved in some Albanian charities as well.
Yeah, I've heard. I was not in the country then because there was another posting abroad, and but I followed the news, and it was like a hero welcome, actually. Because he was so popular, and he did it masterfully, having sort of a shirt half Albanian, half English when the football team came. And I've read also news that he was compared to David Beckham. There are two different personalities to compare. His personality is an artist personality, and he was beloved from a very young age to the very old age groups, if you like, whereas David Beckham is very famous also, but for those who love sports, and there are many who probably do not watch football. And in that sense, the message he delivered in the country was of a great person and a great artist at the same time, and he continues to be so much beloved in our public opinion.
Well, we're very grateful for you to coming in. Ambassador Zef Mazi, many thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Time now for a check on the weather.